Hello, I'm Ron Miscavige, and this is Life After Scientology. As usual, that cut that you just heard is from my album that I did in 1974. And if you go on my website, therealronmiscavige.com, and go into the thing that says music, you can hear the rest of it or sample it, or buy some. It's pretty enjoyable music. This I did in 1974. But to kick it off, first of all, I want to thank new Patreons. And so let's get into that right away. Charmaine Stankovic. And I hope I pronounced it right because it's a nice Polish name and I'm Polish of ancestry. So Charmaine Stankovic, $1. Thank you very much, Charmaine. Dziękuję, as they say in Polish, which means thank you. Julie, $5. And thank you very much, Julie. Nina, $1. And again, thank you, Nina. Carrie A. Rose, $5. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Carrie. And then Susan Winter went from $3 to $5. So thank you very much for your contribution to the ongoingness of this show. I appreciate it very much. And I welcome more of you to become Patreons. So now, I'd like to get into this by taking up a subject called a valuable final product. And what do I mean by that? It's something that you produce, whether you produce a material thing like an automobile, or maybe you have you're selling shoes. That isn't necessarily the actual valuable final product. So let me get into some examples so you can track with me on this. First of all, let's take up, and this is a good friend of mine, John Peterson. He's a fitness guru, and he sells isometric workout kits, books on various type of exercises. He has a website called Transformetrics. Very nice gentleman, very good business. And you might think that his product would be number of books sold or maybe number of isometric kits, but it isn't. Now follow this. As a result of selling his product, his valuable final product, you could say, would be people who get it are physically fit, strong, and an enhanced ability to confront and handle life. That's from using his product. That we call that a valuable final product. Now let's take an example of somebody. Her name is Sam. She works at a local pick and save store in the meat counter. And you could say, well, Sam's valuable final product would be selling brats, brats rather. This is Wisconsin, or maybe shrimp or lobster tails. But how about this? Her valuable final product would be satisfied customers, courteous and efficient service, will come back, will tell friends. You see how this is working out? How this is their valuable final product? Let's talk about a car dealer. What would his valuable final product be? Economical and safe transport, serviced well at dealership, and will buy again. So there's some examples of what these people are producing by selling their products to people. You tracking with me so far? Now, let's take up what would be some of the valuable final products of the Church of Scientology. Here's one of them. Breakup of families, heartbreak of children or parents. They do that. That would be a valuable final product of theirs. How about this one? Overextending parishioners' ability to pay for expensive services, creating bankruptcy, losing homes, using children's educational funds. There's another valuable final product of the Church of Scientology. Now, we wouldn't call it a valuable final product, but they would. We would call it a despicable final product. Let's take up another one. How about this? Promoting abilities gained that have never been attained ever. As an example, early on, it was promoted that if you did all these OT levels, you could be exterior with full perception. In other words, you could be living here in Wisconsin and just spiritually leave your body and go to San Francisco and be able to tell what's on the menu at one of the hotels. I was in Scientology for 42 years. I never saw anybody demonstrate this ability. So that would be, how would we describe that as a valuable final product? Successfully told lies that bring in income. All right? So now, I want to bring up this subject because this happened just this week. One of my dearest friends, as a matter of fact, my best friend, David Richards, died. He died earlier this week, and he will be very much missed by me and a lot of people. As a matter of fact, I spoke to Robert Omblad. I didn't speak to him. I read what he wrote to me. And he said David Richards was the best friend to a lot of people. And I can see why. Because he was the type of person you could call and you could have a good communication cycle with him. He was compassionate. He could understand. He'd help you in any way that he could rather. And this is the type of guy he was. So now, I do want to take this up because he had a daughter named Megan. She was born into Scientology. She was raised by Dave and his first wife, Arlene. And I will tell you, she joined staff at the Tustin org originally. Arlene went out there, found her an apartment that was close to the org so she wouldn't have to drive. She could walk to work, bought her furniture, just took care of her in general. She joined the Sea organization, and she finally left that to have a family. And after she left, both David and Arlene helped her financially in many instances. Arlene bought her a car, paid for the insurance on the car. I know David contributed a lot of things, the expenses that they had raising children. I know Arlene used to send her money, as well as Dave, to help pay for some of the gifts that the kids would get. And just in general, just loved her and showed it by helping her out in life. It's a big deal because they were not doing well after she left the Sea organization. And as far as I know, they're not doing that well financially even right now. She was indoctrinated into Scientology since she was a child. Now, you talk about decades of indoctrinating people. You're going to create a mindset in that person that is pretty much bulletproof. And I'll give you an example. What could be a valuable final product that they had instilled in her? Molded her mind to believe that backing the church's disconnection policy was more important than showing her love, which at once she did have, for her father by communicating with him, and additionally not even calling her mother at the time of her father's death. I know this personally because Dave and I used to talk about it occasionally because I also lost my family to disconnection. Her calling and just saying, "Hi, Dad," would have meant the world to him. It would have meant more than anything that you could imagine. And it means that much to he too. So I could understand his position on how he felt about this. And it devastated him. And that call never came through. Now he's gone. And she may want to do so, but there's not an opportunity to do so at this point. So now, do I blame Megan? I guess yes, partially, because no matter what is done to you, you have to take some responsibility for it happening to you, whether it's the smallest amount or a large amount. She could have just said to the church, "You know what? Screw you. I'm going to call my father and just say hello to him. Do what you want." That never happened. But I will tell you, I'd like to congratulate the Church of Scientology for achieving this VFP with her. One family broken up, heartbreak of parents losing their child, disregarded as human emotion and reaction and of no value. So congratulations, you sons of bitches. You achieved a valuable final product in your demented mind with this young woman. You've also gained tremendous amount of disdain and hatred for your operating policy for the man in the street, for regular people out here trying to live their lives and just enjoying their children and their relatives. So you are achieving that goal at what expense? I'm sure you're going to soon pay the price for this. But anyway, so much for that. I wanted to bring it up, and I have. And as far as David is concerned, I'd like to bid him goodbye. So goodbye, my dear friend. God bless you, and Godspeed wherever you are, wherever you may end up. I wish you the best of luck. So from me and a lot of people who love you, goodbye. Okay, so look, this is tough. But I can tell you, if you want to help the ongoingness of this program and me exposing stuff like this, which I will continue to do, please join up, be at Patreon. I don't care what it is, but you're going to feel better because you're ending up going from a spectator to a participant in this ongoing crusade I have going here. No matter what, though, I'm going to continue doing this. Number two, get other people to join in and watch these podcasts. And number three, get them to subscribe so everybody knows when this is coming on, so we can keep on increasing our viewership. I'd like to have it about 10 times as big. And to be honest with you, I wish it was the only thing I had time to do. Of course, I still have to make a living out here, but I enjoy this more than anything I do in life. And any way I can save some people from have the heartache of joining a church and having this happen to them, I'm very happy to do it. So much for that. And Sean, do we have any questions? I know this is a short notice for our public, but
yeah. Actually, I just want to start off with something with Megan. I mean, I know you've kind of seen both sides of the fence as far as being in and kind of believing the party line and essentially not justifying, but not really necessarily being upset when a family member or close one leaves and then passes away. What do you think I know it's hard to tell. What do you think she's thinking right now?
What do I think Megan's thinking?
Yeah.
Well, look, I know Megan personally. I mean, I was with her when she was with her father as a little kid. I could tell you a humorous story about her. Yeah. I mean, if you want to hear, and this is just shows she was a lovable little kid. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
One time she's in the house, and this is in Florida when they were down there, and there was a moth on the screen door, on the back door. So, and she's just this little kid. To try to get it to leave, she went like this. She made a face thinking the moth would be afraid and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple more. Some of them are a little bit off the wall, but okay. Arlene is taking a trip, and Megan's a little kid, and she's over 2 years old. So Arlene said to her, "Now, Megan, you have to pretend you're a little girl, and this way I don't have to pay for you to go on this trip with me.
Yeah.
So don't act like a big girl." So they get to the ticket counter, and Arlene is ordering the ticket, and Megan says in perfect English, with her arm around their mother's neck, "Goo goo gaga." And it's just, and David loved her, and she loved her father. I remember one time we went to the zoo down in Miami, and he's carrying her all around the place, and we're having a hell of a good time. So what do I think she's thinking? I hope she's reconsidering what has happened, because there's always redemption and forgiveness. It's never, ever too late. If she could just say to the church, "Hey, man, I'm out of here." Call the cops and say, "Look, they're going to stop me."
Yeah.
I'm sure she could find help within her family with David's sisters or whoever to have some safe place to go. And I hope she's thinking that. And if she's not, well, then she's lost to us.
But I think that's that just showcases the pure sinister goals behind the church. I mean, she won't be able to go to the service, will she?
Do what?
You go to the service, the funeral.
Well, the thing is this: there won't be any service because David lived in Phoenix, and he's
Okay.
going to be cremated there.
Okay, but she wouldn't be able to leave to pay tribute at all, right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah, they are sinister.
Considering he also left the church too.
Yeah, and the way he could have gotten back is saying, "I was wrong, you were right. I'm the bad guy, you're the good guy," which is a fucking lie. Yeah. All right, he's not gonna. He would never do that. David was soft spoken, and if you listen to the interview I had with him, you'll see. But I can tell you, he could hold his own.
One of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life, too.
He was a very decent individual, a very nice person.
Mm-hmm. You just have that aura around someone when you meet him, and
he
just was one of those individuals. Just really sad, you know. And for me, like, it just showcases the power and control that they have over their quote unquote church members, you know,
or cult members, more correctly.
Right. So I'm sorry again, Ron, for your loss, and it's not easy. And I think, you know, with you doing this tribute, I think it's awesome. And you know, Tony did something too. Tony Ortega.
I saw it. Yeah.
Tony did something. So it's really, really a sad situation. So are you good for the Ask Me Anything portion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go into it.
Okay. So we have a super chat from Y'all Ain't Right. That's his name. He says, "Can't stay, but have a great show for $5." So pretty nice.
Well, I appreciate it. What's his name again?
Y'all Ain't Right.
Y'all?
Y'all Ain't Right.
Oh, Y''LL. Oh, Y'all Ain't Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thank you all for saying it's a great handle, man. And thank you very much. Thank you very much, y'all.
Just looking for some questions here. We did get another chat from super chat from Caitlin T 1.1 for $2. She says, "Thanks for all you do." So that was very nice.
Well, I want to thank you for saying that. But listen, I consider this my duty. It's not something I do that's cute or trying to be famous or well-liked or something. There's no way I could just go on with life and not do anything about it. So I enjoy what I'm doing, and I appreciate you saying what you said.
And then we have Alice Lynch. She asks, while watching Mike's daughter, Taryn, and her campaign of abuse against Kathy, including photos, have you ever wondered how far David would go? Do you think he'd be capable of beating women himself, or just making his secretaries abuse other women? So do you think he'd go that far? Do you think he would advocate for abuse amongst women?
Okay. No, but I know that at one point he told his communicator to break a person's finger. I guess that's what this person is referring to.
Jesus, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, that's on the internet, and that's well known. Do I think he would advocate abusing women? Actually, no, I don't. But look, I'm his father.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake, I probably have more forgiveness in my heart than most people do. You know.
Yeah.
It's hard when you bring somebody in this world and you see them as a little body, and you raise them through those little years where they can't fend for themselves, and then they grow up to a man.
Yeah.
You can't just disregard that love. It's hard for me to hate. I just can't do it.
I know. It's got to be such a tough, just stuck between a rock and a hard.
Yeah, it's a son of a bitch. I'll be honest with you. All right.
And then Alice also her final question was, what do you think happened to Shelly? Do you think she's still alive?
My personal opinion would be a guess just as much as anybody's would be. I personally think she's still alive. I think if anything happened to her, it would be known. But that's my opinion. Yes, I do think she's still alive.
Among the Wolves asked, do you know if David physically abused Shelly?
No, I don't know that. And
that's a tough question to ask.
I know. I mean, if of course it wouldn't happen in front of me, but
right.
Do I think he would do that? Actually, no.
Yeah.
No.
Someone just says, Dancer13 says, hello, Ron. Greetings from Costa Rica. Love your podcast. Caitlin, the one that offered a super chat, also asks, I'm curious if Ron considered dabbling in independent Scientology or continuing any form of Scientology after he left the church. Did you ever see any benefit to the other forms?
Well, when he's talking about independent Scientologists, these are Scientologists who left the church,
Yeah.
disgusted with their administrative policies and organizational policies, and declaring people as suppressive persons. And they are practicing Scientology independent of the church.
Yeah.
Did I ever consider doing that? No.
Yeah.
No.
Weren't they called squirrels by the church?
They were called squirrels by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
That's right. And he looked at them with disdain because he's stealing money away from him.
Yeah.
He wanted to make all the money. All
That's
right?
exactly what it was.
Oh, of course it was. I mean, you know, you can say what the hell you want, but that was the reason for it. And there are still people doing it, and I guess they have their own following, and if they're getting gains out of it, I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I never considered doing it myself, though.
Dancer also asked, what do you think?
Wait, what's the name again?
Dancer.
Dancer, okay.
What do you think would happen to Scientology when your son leaves or continues on in his life voyage, according to Scientology?
What do I think if he left Scientology?
Yeah. What do you think happens to it?
Well, that is a question that there could be no answer for, because I will tell you this, he would never leave Scientology. He just wouldn't do it. I mean, let's face it. He is the sole dictator of the entire church. And he has perks that are beyond what you...
The question was more like, you know, when he doesn't have a choice and he passes away, what do you think happens to Scientology? I've always wondered that myself.
Well, I could wonder it myself. Let's put it this way. If you were to leave, you're talking about somebody who's a very powerful individual. He's a very charismatic speaker. He holds a lot of weight to keep the church afloat. Like with the whales, they call them whales, and these people donate like 5, 10, 15, $20 million to the church.
Donate.
Donations. And for a piece of paper that says you're such and such.
It's really more to get them out of their house, right?
Well, if he were to die, is that what you're saying? Like as an example?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what would happen, but I'm guessing that it would just go like a piece of paper catching fire, and you'd see ashes pretty soon. I don't think there's anybody strong enough to keep it afloat with the reputation it has, because it does have a reputation that is despicable. Just in my own life, anybody I meet, if I tell them that I was with the Church of Scientology, they don't say anything. It's mum's the word until I say, no, I escaped. Then they'll come out with their opinion, and it's always bad.
Yeah.
I've yet to meet one person who say, oh, why did you leave? They're pretty nice people. That's the opposite of anything, because they're enjoying their reputation that they've gained through their actions and their valuable final products, which I mentioned earlier in this show.
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading. So Stella from Australia says, hi, I never get to catch you live. So she says hi.
Oh, good. Hi to Stella. There's a song called Stella by Starlight, which look it up on the internet. It's a great song. I'm a musician, and I used to play that many years ago.
Yeah.
And if I'm ever in Australia, Stella, look me up and make me a Vegemite sandwich, all right? By the way, I have Vegemite at home.
Hey, there you go.
I eat it just about every day of the week.
That's great. Teresa Atkins says, one question. There were supervisors that would yell and scream and deal abusively with their Scientology employees. These supervisors that had these reps of being cruel, did they get the same treatment? So like a good question, I think, would be more when Mike Rinder was second in command to David.
Yeah.
Mike was ruthless in a lot of ways. Or Marty, I'm sorry, Marty.
Yeah.
Would Marty get that type of like treatment?
What do you mean treatment?
So like kind of being treated in the very abusive, way that he would treat others.
Would Marty get abused the way he abused others?
Yeah.
No.
No.
That was, in other words, if you were in that, I don't want to use the word valence because that's a Scientology word. All of valence is the personality of somebody, what that person has as a personality. Now, Marty, he was rough on people at times, all right? But until the very end, which is when he was dealt with roughly, he was never dealt with abusively prior to that.
But
as far as I know,
he ended up in the hole, though, right?
Yeah. But that was at the end. But everybody ended up in a goddamn hole.
Yeah.
Not you say everybody. All of management ended up in a hole.
And the hole, just for those that don't know, was that trailer of offices that was turned into like a living situation where it was just like they were playing musical chairs to pretty much stay. They were being threatened not to, be kicked out.
They spent all day confessing sins, and if they didn't have enough to confess, they had to make them up.
And make them up about others too, right?
And they were physically abused by each other. It was a hellhole.
And if you didn't do it, they would say, "Oh, we're going to kick you out," right? You're out of the club, kind of thing.
No, I don't know about that. I know this, that if the participants in this, and everybody participated in it, if you didn't come up with enough bad acts that you committed and confess to them by their standard, you would be physically abused. You'd be pushed around and punched around. Yeah,
right.
And forced to cough up with stuff. And many people would make up things just so they could get the hell, stop what's happening to them.
Yeah. Melissa Payne says, "I love you, Ron. You're truly amazing and have overcome so much." That's from Melissa.
Thank you very much, Melissa. I don't know if I deserve that, but I'll take it.
Our Bucky says, "Thanks for doing this, Ron."
It's my pleasure, our Bucky. I will continue to do it.
And Alonzo asks, "Ron, will you have Mike Rinder or Tom DeVocht on the show? Both have incredible stories from when they were in Scientology."
If I were to have Mike Rinder on the show, and he has agreed to do a show with me.
It's time to check your alarm there, Ron.
And I put it on silent, and it's still going off. Okay, there you go.
Time to wake up, Ron. Time to wake up.
Okay, now, Mike Rinder has agreed to do a show with me, but I can tell you right now, he does not have the time. They're preparing for the Scientology, the aftermath for this season.
Season 3 now, right?
Pardon me?
Is it season 3?
Yeah, it's the third season. And he's busy either shooting during the daytime or he's in the editing bay in the evening. And literally working like a 20-hour day. He told me, this is weeks ago, that his family come out. He wanted him to come out to spend some time with them. And he said, "Ron, I spend about 2 hours and all the time they were here." So until this is over, he is absolutely busy, but I will have him on in the future. And as far as Tom DeVocht, I'll have him on. I have the next few weeks kind of booked up. But after that, there's a good chance that I would have him on. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put this down, okay?
Yeah. I think he'd be great. I loved him in Going Clear. I loved him. He was one of the first actors that really, really came out with the long version of the story.
Yeah.
In my opinion, based on what I've seen. Well,
I knew Tom DeVocht very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, real good.
Alonzo Smith asked, "Ron, would you ever consider turning your book into a movie?"
If I get an offer, I would.
Yeah,
I'd very much like that. And I had that thoughts earlier this year and even last year.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, wait a minute. Let's say we did a movie. Would I be confined to certain things to say or have to follow a script? And that's why I decided to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I was offered by an agent out there a sum of money to participate in a movie. Well, not participate. He was going to do a pilot and then shop it around. And after I looked at what I would have to give up for that, I thought, nope, let me do the podcast. And if somebody sees this, or maybe somebody says, "Hey, we should do a movie about this guy," I'll be more than happy to talk to them.
Yeah. Melissa Payne for $2 super chat says, Ron, you're an inspiration and so handsome. Love you, Melissa.
Well, Sean says to me, Ron, you're conceited. And I say, Sean, how could you say that? Although I have every right to be. Thank you for the nice compliment. What's your name?
Melissa.
Melissa, thank you very much.
Rottenberry says, hi, Ron. Greetings from England. What was the general perception of other religions within the Church of Scientology? Like how did they view Christianity or Islam or Judaism?
They view Scientology as superior to all religions. And to mitigate it so they can't come off like the arrogant sons of bitches they actually are, they called it Scientology is the religion of religions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you want the truth?
Yeah.
They looked at other religions with disdain.
Yeah.
And they felt the only true religion was Scientology.
You want to know something funny?
What's that?
Fritz and I, there's that Scientology center in Milwaukee, and it was 2013. We went in just to kind of check it out, and and they have the wall of the books with Dianetics and all the stuff being sold. And we were talking to the lady that was running, and she had said that she was in for like 20 years. You may have known her, 20, 30 years. I forget her name.
Was her name Retzlaff?
It could have been so long ago. I didn't even remember. But they said, they get you in. It's like a car salesman. They're, hey, let's sell you on this. Let's sell you on that. So there's this room where there's a really nice television, and they play one of their promotional videos. Right. And Fritz and I were really interested in learning about the various religions at that point. And so we sat down and watched the video, and the video explains that Scientology doesn't replace your religion. Scientology is just a supplement that will make your life better. It said in the video specifically, you could still stay a Christian, you could still stay a Jew or Jehovah's Witness or whatever. Their whole selling point was it's a supplemental.
In other words, a complete lie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a complete lie, a complete and utter lie. Because once you get in far enough, they'll say, now you can't do these other things because that's called other practices. Yeah. So you're banned from doing it.
Yeah.
I could say more, but I said my piece.
Yeah. No, I know it's all bullshit. Steven asks, people want Tom Cruise to do Joe Rogan's podcast. If Tom did that podcast, would you listen to it? I would.
The odds of Tom Cruise doing a podcast with Joe Rogan would be the same odds of you throwing a basketball 200 feet and it going right through the basket.
Yeah.
A one-time shot only.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen.
And it's Tom. I'd say Tom in the 90s used to do interviews all the time. Even the early 2000s, do the interviews.
No,
I don't remember the last time he's actually done an actual interview. Like you'll see him. They'll ask him questions on the red carpet when he's featuring a movie, but it's not.
No, he won't do it really.
Yeah.
And the chances are zero of him doing a Joe Rogan interview.
Oh, shit.
Zero.
No, absolutely zero. And that's, the more I love Tom Cruise, like growing up, Top Gun, Vanilla Sky was one of my favorite movies of all time. And, I don't watch his shit anymore. I don't. Like he's come out with some good movies, and I tell my wife all the time, I said, no, I'm not watching. I'm boycotting. I'm voting with my wallet.
I feel the same way.
I can't, because he knows what's going on.
Of course he does.
He's not stupid. Even though they have him surrounded by people telling him how great he is and how great Scientology is, he knows.
There's no way he can't know.
Right. Stone Scooser. Hey, Stone Scooser is one of our patrons.
What's your name?
Stone Scooser. Remember Stoned Scooser?
Okay.
Yeah. He what's the line of succession of leadership in the cult what's essentially he's asking, what is the line of succession in the leadership if someone had to take charge? Like, let's say hypothetically David did go away for whatever reason. Who's the next person?
There is none.
Mm.
There's none at all. David is the boss, and that's the end of it. Mm. So as far as a successor being... What's that?
He's a good dictator.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like L. Ron Hubbard. He never made any arrangements for a successor.
Yeah.
David is doing the same thing. He's not I mean, as far as I know,
Mm-hmm.
they could be doing this behind closed doors at the international base in Hemet. I would seriously doubt it.
Yeah.
But as far as my own knowingness about it, there is no successor.
That's ridiculous. Daniel says, greetings from the UK. I was wondering, do you know what the size of Scientology is in the UK? And what do you make of European countries who try and ban it as a cult?
Well, I have no idea what the size of Scientology is in the UK. And by the way, I lived in England for 2.5 years, and I got to tell my friend, I loved England. I don't know if I'd go there now because of the problems they're having with these, knifings. A lot of knifings going, and it seems unsafe to me. But I loved England. I loved steak and kidney pie.
Yeah.
Cornish pasties. I enjoyed the fish and chips. Is without question the best in the world. And guess what else? The Indian food in London. It's to die for. It is unbelievable. So now the question is, what the size of it? I don't know. And as far as the other countries trying to ban it, I think it's a good idea. Let's say if Scientology would say, look, we're a business, we're a self-help business, and we charge money and we offer these services. Here's what they are. And if you can come in, we will show you that they work.
Yeah.
I don't think there'd be a problem.
Right.
That ain't going to happen.
I think, see, the interesting thing, and this kind of spills over into the other stuff we're doing, in the UK, there's this weird resurgence of like censorship. They're censoring social media platforms. They're censoring creators. They're censoring people that are quote unquote controversial. And the interesting thing, I think the way it should be handled in the UK and the same way it should be handled in the US is treat them as a fucking business and tax them.
Yeah.
Tax them.
Yep.
If you want to come in, we're going to tax you,
And that's what I think. If they did it, if they said that in France, in Belgium, in Germany, and they say, okay, here's what we're going to deliver. We're going to deliver a communication course. We're going to deliver courses on how to administrate a business. Come in, we'll show you how these work. We're going to charge you money for this. You can tax us. We're not going to call ourselves a religion. Different story.
I think that's a great way of handling it.
Yep.
It's interesting. The Rubber Duck asks, does Scientology have a position on homosexuality?
Yeah, well, L. Ron Hubbard has a position on homosexuality, and it's in the Science of Survival, where he calls a homosexual person covertly hostile. A covertly hostile person is a person who would be nice to your face and it would stab you in the back. But if you look it up, you could probably look it up online instead of just buying the book, but it's in a book called Science of Survival. Look around page 212, just as a guess, and you'll see L. Ron Hubbard's position on homosexuality.
Yeah, Tony Ortega actually did a really good video on this where he pulls the paragraph and what he talks about. It's actually really good. Tony's work is always really good. Among Wolves, I would love to know what the hell is going on with Marty Rathburn these days. Why did he do those videos for Scientology?
Wow. I'd like to have that question answered too, because when Marty left, he was an avid exposer of Scientology's bad deeds. You know that. I mean, he went on, he even wrote books about it. And then he turned around and he went like this. He did an about face, and now he's working for the church as far as I can see. What is my guess? Total guess. Maybe he got some money and said, you know what, the hell with it. I'm just going to go where the money is. But that's conjecture on my part. I will say that. I don't know that to be a fact at all. Why he's doing it, that's my guess.
Yeah. Trying to find another one here. The chat's just going back and forth here. Now they're talking about Tom Cruise movies. Yeah, that's kind of it's funny. That's kind of it for the chat for now. So I see. So who do you got coming up? Who are some of the people we're interviewing?
Well, okay, so next week we're going to have Nathan Rich on. Nathan Rich was scheduled to do this week, And of course, with David dying and me wanting to do a tribute to him, I would have probably put off Nathan being on this week anyway. I've considered this more important. But he couldn't make it because he was going to Taiwan. He normally lives in Beijing, and he didn't know if the internet service would be good to do this. So he should come on. And I got to tell you, I have 2 more guests lined up, and actually 3. I want to keep it a surprise because after that, you will be surprised at the guests I have on, which you're going to see a lot of things revealed that have never been revealed before. And then the one after that has to do with how Scientology handles certain things in their processing. And then after that would be another surprise. So,
yeah,
let's put it this way. Stay tuned, subscribe, and enjoy the surprise. And meanwhile, all of you who are faithful listeners and faithful followers, I'd appreciate it if you became Patreons and contribute to the ongoingness of the show.
We got one more. We got one more from Alice Lynch for $5. She says, "Thank you for all you do. Question: would you care to adopt an honorary granddaughter? Keep going strong."
Would I
care to adopt an honorary granddaughter
to come and live with me? You got to explain that a little better.
A smiley face after that. So
okay, well, let's put it this way: if the adoption would be, do I find a person that I could love and send my affection to, and she could call me Grandpa? Which, yeah, I'd do that. I'd do that. But I'll tell you, only one way I would do it, and that is this. And there's a little story behind this. If she called me Jadek, Jadek is Polish for grandfather. And the story behind this is my granddaughter out in LA, Jenna, has a daughter, Winnie, short for Winifred. That's my great-granddaughter. So we were visiting them last year, and I said to Winnie, Winnie, look it, you already have 2 grandfathers. So what I want you to do is call me a different name because I'm your great-grandfather. I want you to call me Jadek. Now, what do I want you to call me? And she looked at me and she said, Bubbles. I says, no, Whitney, it's Jadek. So what should you call me? She says, Bubbles. So the name is open. So if she wants me to be her Jadek, I'm more than happy to do it.
That's fantastic.
Okay, so that brings us to the close of this, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please stay tuned, and until the next time, I'm Ron Miscavige. This is Life After Scientology. See you on the next episode.
I just want to add one more thing after that. We are looking to do some patron hangouts for those that are patrons. So we'll do kind of like this format, but with patrons only. So just for
I'd love it.
Know that. Yep. So
I'd love it.
Working on that, and stay tuned.
Okay. See you the next time. Bye-bye.